my name still remains Balogun Arishekola Aziz. I welcome you to #1 TV station in the Horn of Africa and beyond. I'm talking of CBA TV, and this is your dialing program, Talk to CBA. Like I said in a previous episode, that my guest is fully loaded, and I'm happy we get a grace to, bring out to your view again, like everyone has been asking. And like I said, we'll be discussing so much about Somaliland and its law and constitution. You remember the last episode was awesome. We talk about many things, Berbera corridor, we talk about election, and we thank God now election has, come and gone. And alhamdulillah, it was peaceful. And I welcome you once again to this program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Now we will be, starting on a very literary levels now. AQN, which is your law firm, recently partnered with Somaliland Ministry of Justice and Ministry of Constitutional Affairs to organize a workshop on constitutional law and justice.
That's right. Yes.
Yes, we'll be talking about that. But before we do that, I want to play a very short clip of that event so that people will understand what we want to talk about. We'll be back after this video.
The Somaliland Ministry of Constitutional Affairs, together with the Ministry of Justice, have organized a 2-day workshop on constitutional law and justice for different sections of the community. At the opening ceremony of the event, the Somaliland Minister of Constitutional Affairs, Muhammad Haji Adam Ilmi, welcomed the participants and shared with them the importance of this program, as well as encouraged them to take advantage of this program. The Minister of National Assemblies and Constitutional Affairs said Somaliland has one of the best constitutions on earth, but the public does not apply it well. He said as government institutions, they will develop knowledge of the constitutions.
Now, today we have organized this workshop so that a diverse set of participants can at least listen to Dr. Amal and learn from other constitutions that have developed in other countries, and to focus on how best we can first understand the sections and the parts of our constitution, and what our young academics and students in law schools in our universities can at least learn the interplay between the constitution and the profession of justice.
On the other side, Dr. Amal Ali, who is an expert of this field, explained in depth the significance of this project.
This program was brought together by the Ministry of Justice and the Ministry of Parliamentary and Constitutional Affairs, where the DGs and I sat down together and thought, right, the constitutional law is a fundamental area of law in most legal systems, including Somaliland, and we wanted to see where we were in terms of constitutional law and where we could go, trying to identify where the gaps are and where we could suggest improvement. The purpose of most constitutions is to deliver justice. The reason why we've decided to add the term justice there is to see the ways in which constitutional law could benefit us in Somaliland and could allow us to deliver justice to the different sections of the communities. The Constitution is a very strong document. It's the backbone of every society, and within the Constitution there is a legal section, there's a political section, and there is a social section. So here today we are focusing on the legal, and we are seeing the way in which law, predominantly constitutional law, can allow us to deliver efficient decision making as well as allow us to deliver justice within Somaliland.
For the past year, the Somaliland government has been trying to increase its efforts to improve public awareness on constitutional law and justice. It was recently when the government launched a civic education guidebook for Somaliland higher education institutions.
All right, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that short clip. That is what the event is all about. And Doctor, I want you to tell my viewers at home, this program we just previewed is clips now. What is the rationale behind this program? You mean AQN, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Constitutional Affairs? What brings about this event?
Yeah, so actually the event was the idea of the ministries who wanted to do kind of a training or workshop event for their members of staff to talk about the importance of constitutional law, to their day-to-day life. And so we got together to try and figure out what the curriculum will be and the kind of things that we would cover in order to sort of raise the capacities of both ministries, and in order to kind of bring them together and to make them realize that actually the things that they do every day, their everyday job, also forms part of constitutional law. And we talked about general constitutional law and principles and so on, and the ways in which sort of our constitutional law is just another way in which we express and show the type of democracy we have every day. And it shows our legal, our political, our cultural, our religious identity. Like the Constitution is it's such an amazing legal and political text. And we just spent 2 days kind of going through it and discussing it and talking it. And it was just really nice to not only impart my knowledge onto them, but to also hear from both ministries and their members of staff the way in which they implement it every day at a local level. So I felt like we all learned from that workshop. It was a two-way learning experience. It wasn't just me talking to them. It was a really nice and interesting workshop where we all learned from each other.
Thank you very much. And now we'll be talking about your firm, AQN International Law. But before we go deep into that, the law firm was launched recently in Hargeisa. I want my viewers at home to still look at the event for them to see how colorful it is. And when we come back, we'll be talking extensively of what AQN stands for. We'll be right back after this video.
Positioning Somaliland in the Committee of Recognized Nations and putting it on the map of the world no doubt requires a deliberate effort in standardizing our laws within the framework of customary and international laws privately and publicly. However, the depth of this in the context of international treaties and formation of laws of the land creates a big vacuum which must be filled. This no doubt gives birth to the launching of AQN International Law Firm in Hargeisa, the capital city of Somaliland, by a seasoned legal luminary, Dr. Amal Ali, Esquire, a tenured UK international law lecturer and an international advocate with a strong network in the heart of the city. The launching of the law firm at Barar Hotel Hargeisa saw an impressive turnout of the members of the public, the bigwig in the practice of the law profession in the country, and the government officials as a launcher. Dr. Amal explained how the law firm will serve as a catalyst for change in the Horn of Africa. She said the team is a pool of professionals who understand the region and the people it will be serving, adding that AQN deals with top-class segments of the society where others could not dare.
Somaliland is a post-conflict society, and right now there are a few deficiencies with our law that we are hoping to address. We have a team of lawyers who specialise in different aspects of the law. I myself am an expert in international law and transnational law, so my area of law would be to make sure that international organisations, international partners, international business, investors continue to uphold and protect international laws. We also have a group of domestic lawyers, each with their own areas of expertise, whether it's business law, whether it's local law, whether it's Islamic law. And it's our hope that we are able to firstly help the government create bills that will, work to the benefit of Somaliland. And secondly, it's our wish to ensure that laws are enforced. So right now Somaliland has a host of excellent laws, but our enforcement mechanisms are weak. So it's our hope that we can ensure that these laws are enforced and that people's rights, whether that's in the boardroom, whether that's in their businesses, whether it's in their homes, that these laws are protected and that they are upheld and that they find some form of an enforcement mechanism.
As the firm is positioned to offer long-term strategic advice to the parliament, politicians and the general public, Dr. Amal clarified that the firm, though established in gold standard with international focus and raising national standard, the firm is equally poised with the responsibility to provide legal assistance to vulnerable individuals. Pouring in commendations for establishing such international law-focused firm in the region, Muse Jamal Muse said the country has long been missing such service, as the launching will help put Somaliland in the Committee of Nations. The former Director, Ministry of Justice, Abdurrahman Sheikh Hassan Ismail, highlighted that AQN International Law Firm is highly needed, as many customary laws of the land cannot cater for many controversial issues in the country, especially with regards to cases that involves international individuals or nations against another. Sadia said it was a long time coming, as the establishment of the firm will fill the empty spaces which other laws cannot handle, adding that AQN International Law Firm came at the right time.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, you are watching CBA TV, and this is Talk to CBA, your dialing program. And my guest still remain our humble self, Dr. Amal. Welcome back again to the show.
Thank you.
AQN International Law Firm was recently launched in Hargeisa. Tell us about AQN. Why Hargeisa?
Okay, so one of the reasons why we decided to come to Hargeisa and to open up this law firm and to do the work here is because, as I said, Somaliland is very much on the cusp of internationalizing. We have all the legal requirements needed for statehood. We have the port opening up. We have more international engagement. We have this constitution that recognizes sort of international law, and we felt like there was definitely a gap in this particular area. As the port's capacity increases, more people will be importing and exporting goods, people from other countries will want to try and come and live and take part in Somaliland's economy. And so we are in need of not only the laws to regulate this, of which many are currently being passed by Parliament, but also the people with the right expertise that can interpret it and that can help the people of Somaliland as our country internationalizes.
Okay, that is just the basis why you have this international law firm here. Very good, but let's look at this. You know, it's very critical here. Coming from UK with a very wide experience in international law, and now you set up this law firm here in Hargeisa. How did you think the acceptability will be, you know, by the people of Somaliland, having it this way for the first time? How do you think they will accept this firm?
Firstly, yes, I did study and do work within international law in the UK, but that's what international law is. International law. It's the same law regardless whether you're in the UK, whether you're in Uganda, whether you're in America, whether you're in Somaliland. It's the same set of rules. Now, Somaliland didn't really need international expertise before this, other than the usual, you know, it's still a massive task, and I'm grateful for everybody who works in it, but like peace building, creating the human rights framework, helping minorities and so on. I feel like the international work that's being done in Somaliland very much focused on that. Now we are getting at a point whereby people are buying and selling goods abroad, and people are wanting to come into Somaliland and invest, as I said many times on the show now. And so I think people will find that they'll need it. I mean, in the past, if I were to buy, say, furniture from Turkey, and I buy a black sofa, and it arrives, and it's a brown sofa, in the past, as a community, and we are a very forgiving community, we would say, oh, you know, it didn't work out for me, I guess I now have this color sofa, but it's not the sofa you wanted. Now there's a law firm that can go after this, right? And who can say, right, no, actually you entered into a contract with that international partner. So we should either get you your money back, or we should get you the sofa you want. So I think people, as their knowledge increases of what trade law is and what international law is and what contract law is and what are acceptable terms and what are not acceptable terms, and the fact that now we are able to give them enforcement mechanisms, you know? We are able to say, no, we will go after that company in Turkey or China or Ethiopia, and we will chase this up for you until you get justice. I think in the past, as a community, we would just shrug and say, oh, well, there's nothing we can do now. It's here, and he's not going to give me my money back. So I think people up to now have been very open. They've been very accepting because they can see the benefit to it.
Thank you very much. That is about AQN and Somalilanders. Now let's talk about, you know, having another Dr. Amal or someone like Dr. Amal in Somaliland. You are a Somalilander. I want to ask you, did you plan to train, you know, other Somalilander to be like you, or how? If yes, how did you plan to achieve this?
So one of the things that I also do alongside this law firm is I teach at universities. I'm a dean at one of them. So one of the things that I want to do is the law in Somaliland, as it develops, it's not something that should always be high-level stuff. AQN International Law Firm should not be the only law firm doing everything. We should also be training the next generation of lawyers, right? And so we can do this through education. And so this two-way pathway we have through education here, pushing people's capacities up, and through doing what we can here, in the future we'll get to a point where inshallah everything will run seamlessly. Another thing that we do at AQN International Law Firm, so at lawful level, because once you have the academic knowledge, you still don't have the practical knowledge. You know, how do you teach someone how to negotiate? How do you teach someone what a contract negotiation looks like? How do you show someone what legal drafting is like? You know, if a ministry calls us and says we need help, we need the technical information drafting on this, how does that happen? You need practical training. And so one thing that we also do is we have interns here at AQN International Law Firm who are young graduates of our local universities, and we kind of give them that training. So that's at two levels. So you've got the universities, you've got the interns, and then also we give workshops and we give training sessions here within the law firm, which we've been doing for free. So for example, that commercial and trade law in Somaliland that we had before Ramadan, we did not charge the general public for that. We just felt like local businesses had to learn or had to know about the legal benefits to them, and the only way that we could kind of get that done was to invite them here and to give them that workshop, and we did that entirely at our cost. So whatever we can do to help the youth and the general public, we do try and do some pro bono work, whereby, you know, at the end of the day, our wish is for Somaliland to develop legally so that we can all benefit from it, especially at that higher level, international level.
That's fantastic. Now, in every program of this nature, there must be room for improvement.
Yes.
So can you tell our viewers at home what are the plans, I mean the improvement planned for AQN in Hargeisa and in other Somali-speaking, you know, nation in general? Okay,
yeah, so our plans is to kind of, so I think up to now most of our work has been with Somali diaspora, with government bodies, with international NGOs, and with foreign investors or, you know, high-level companies. What we want to do, the room of improvement that we want to do, and I know it will take time, is to be able to reach the average Somalilander, for them to see the benefit in our work. And that's not something that's going to happen overnight. That's going to require a lot of community work. That's going to require a lot of time and effort. That's going to require, you know, learning about the problems on the ground, which is why, you know, I might be the person that you see in front of you and the person that's doing the show, but at AQN International Law Firm, it's a firm. It's not Amal's law firm. It's a firm that's based on teamwork, and our team comes from varying different backgrounds. You know, we have policy workers, we have lawyers, we have you know, business people, and we have a good mixture of locals and internationals, so that we can reach every aspect of the community and we can have impact in every aspect of the community. So my hope is that over time, as people realize our value, that we kind of reach all sectors of the community and not just the privileged ones.
That's very good, and I pray in no time people will realize the value you just talked about. I would like us to move a little bit away from law. Okay, we are still inside law, but now let's look into fundamental human rights. Okay. For example, I'm a journalist. And you know, freedom of expression is very, very paramount to our day-to-day activities. Yes. And here in Somaliland, we still do have a number of instances which, you know, hindering our way of carrying out our profession. Yeah. What is your own take, and in what best way you think we can tackle this constitutionally and professionally?
Okay, so constitutionally, freedom of speech and freedom of the media is protected. You know, constitutionally it's protected, it's a part of a human right, it's an internationally recognized human right. Now, freedom of speech is limited. Nobody has absolute freedom of speech. You know, I can't commit hate crimes. I can't openly incite violence and so on and so forth. So freedom of speech can be limited, provided that it's in accordance with the law, so provided that it's in accordance with the law, and provided that it doesn't harm other people, right? So it's already protected in the Constitution, it's protected by international human rights standards, and so on and so forth. So I think what's required here is for that human rights training to be given to the relevant people, right? People who don't fully understand how to balance that the importance of freedom of speech and the importance of knowledge, you know, the ability of journalists to pass on relevant and important knowledge to the general public, and the duty that journalists have, alongside with, well, what is for the greater good of the people? Are we inciting violence? Are we inciting hatred? Are we doing something that legally we shouldn't be able to do? So I think we need to teach the general public, those in power, journalists even, about this very important balance in a way in which it doesn't infringe on people's freedom of speech, but in a way in which it doesn't also lead to violence. And so I personally think that is what's needed.
Okay, thank you. We will be looking out for AQN to organize something big for we journalists.
Maybe we
so
should. Yes.
But
yes.
in right that to that same question, you know, just like you said, freedom of speech is not, you know, 100% assured, but we still have freedom of speech. Yeah. But another thing that is very similar to that in maybe this country and, you know, around the world, there has been cases of journalists being arrested when they are doing their normal job. They were arrested and detained for a very long time of, you know, period without trial. Yeah. I want you to tell our viewers at home and even those who are the authority side, what does the law say about arresting someone, detain this person in police custody for a long time without trial? Is there anything the law?
Absolutely, yes. So it's absolutely illegal. You cannot. So the concept of detaining someone after they've been arrested is within a period of time, and different countries have different times. Some countries have 24 hours. Some countries have 36 hours and so on and so forth, unless it's for terrorist charges, in which case it can be longer to collect, a few days longer to collect the evidence. But the whole purpose of being detained is for evidence to be collected, to then find out, right, are we going to charge that person and are they going to court? Or do we feel like there's not enough evidence and we have to let them free? And actually international law is very clear on this, because in 2004, the UK passed the Terrorist Act, which as a result meant that they were detaining people without charging them indefinitely because they feared they were terrorists because of the terrorist attacks that happened in the UK. And the UK got sued by the international, under international law, and it went to the European Court of Human Rights, which is an international human rights court. And they said this is absolutely wrong. You know, you don't have to, if it's a terrorism and you're fearful of national security, you don't have to tell the world what evidence you have against them, but you can't detain a group of people without charge. You are removing their right to liberty. And just like freedom of speech, freedom of liberty isn't a right that everybody 100% has. If you commit a crime, you can go to prison. If to protect or to keep you safe, you might be detained, you know, if you're harming yourself and so on, or if you're harming others. But the right to liberty is a fundamental right. And so the concept of holding someone in police custody in international and domestic law is to collect evidence required. To collect evidence required to then say, right, you know, we suspect that this person has committed theft or hate speech or whatever. And then the question is, right, what evidence do we have? Do we have evidence? Is this enough evidence to charge them? If so, let's take it to court. And, you know, the person at every stage of the law is innocent until a court of law proves them guilty. So there's this right to presumption of innocence. So if you detain someone without charging them, you assume they're guilty. And that is absolutely wrong. You've taken away that person's basic human rights. A charge is necessary. So yeah, a charge is necessary.
Thank you very much. I want to advise everyone not to take away people's human rights again, as it's not good. Right about now, we'll go on a very short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about this independence and how it's related to law and constitution of Somaliland. We'll be right back.
Making documentaries is one of the most creative crafts and challenging endeavors you can be involved in. It is an effective strategy to inform, persuade, educate, defend the perspective and shed light on various issues, policies and activities. At CBA TV, documentary production is our forte. We capture every TikTok detail of events in highest resolution to tell the story you care about, from politics to human angle, research-based content, educative and informative. We also help you project your story in a dynamic perspective that attracts the world views of the target audience, as there is no better or more powerful way to place the organization's values and achievements than to make an excellent documentary film. No doubt, our strength lies in these ventures, and we pride in many award-winning documentaries which have been earning accolades across Africa and beyond. Let's tell your story.
Welcome back. You are still watching your darling program, Talk to CBA. I am a regular host and I'm still with my able and noble guest. Welcome again.
Thank you for having me.
Like I said before we go on that short break, I said we'll be discussing about Somaliland independent anniversary. You know, we recently celebrated 30 years anniversary of Somaliland. And from where we are coming from up to now, the country has not yet approved numbers of law to its human rights development. Yeah. You know, we are talking about human rights development. What can you say about this?
I believe there's a Human Rights Commission that's also dealing with this. There are two Human Rights Commission. There's one tied to the government and one that's independent. So yes, there are a few laws central to the human rights of Somaliland that still need to be developed, and that I'm assuming are in the process of being developed. But because Somaliland in its constitution already says we will abide by international law, we can assume that they have already made the legal commitment to abide by the international law standards. I know currently the government is working on the rights of the child and implementing that in Somaliland, and they are working with a number of NGOs. Think of about all the NGOs in Somaliland that are currently working on making our human rights framework better. So inshallah, my hope is, and I'm fairly confident, that over time we will see a greater proliferation, more human rights laws to protect, especially those who are most vulnerable.
Thank you. Still in the spirit of independence, can you please tell us, where do you see Somaliland in the next couple of years?
Okay, so I can't say that in the next couple of years we'll definitely have independence. Like I said, for a while we've met the legal requirements for independence, and in the next couple of years I'd like that to remain the same, for us to continue to have peaceful elections, for us to continue to run our central bank, for us to continue to kind of manage our borders and so on and so forth, and for us to continue to have the identity as Somalilanders. But what we need in order to get independence is international lawyers that can fight our case, because we've had a legal case for a while now. We just lack a voice in the legal sense as opposed to the political sense. And then for us to continue to engage with our international partners, our allies, to increase that, because I think we do need to engage in the international arena before the international arena can recognize us.
Thank you very much. And as we are rounding up this program, now I want to ask you this very, special question now. You are a woman, you are a wife, you are a mother with a very good and sound education. So what is your advice for a young lady out there which believe education is nothing or is not important?
Okay, so I have been a lecturer and a teacher for a very long time, so I've come across lots of people from all walks of life. I'm a family person, and my belief has always been, if you're going to do something, A, you need to make sure that you have the skill set, and B, you need to have the passion. So, some people are not academic learners, they're practical learners. Some people, their skill set is in, baking, sewing, and so on and so forth. So my advice has always been, find your passion, whatever it is, and fight for that passion, because when you start working, you work 40, 50 hours a week. You see your colleagues more than you see your family sometimes, especially when you're young. And so it has to be something that you enjoy. You need to have the passion for that. Now, education allows you to have a backup. You know, it gives you that foundation that you need in order to succeed. And I think that if education-wise you choose the topic you enjoy, whether it's law, whether it's medicine, whether it's maths, whether it's arts, whether it's journalism, you need to have a passion, and then you kind of follow that passion through. You need to love what you do, because sometimes you know, when you sit school exams, college exams, university exams, when you have tight deadlines at work, if you don't enjoy what you do, you get disappointed, and it can cause setbacks. So my advice is always find your passion. Figure out what your skill set is, find your passion, and then pursue that as much as you can. And then inshallah, I think that's the recipe for success.
That's fantastic. You all at that. You need to find your passion, and you know, pursue that further passion so that you can become what you dream to become. On a very last note, I want you to tell my viewers at home, I mean, your sign out message, I mean, your parting word for my viewers at home, be in Somaliland and around the world.
So my parting message is to just think and reflect on the importance of the laws. You know, when you're driving to school, or when you're driving to work, or when you are doing your homework, or you're watching TV, etc. Just think about what kind of legal framework surrounds you. You know, if you have a particular cable television, think about, oh well, what contract do I have with them? What do I pay a month to get this TV service? Because I think people sometimes overlook the importance of the law in their everyday life. When, you know, I'm passionate about the law, whereas I think law is paramount. Law is everywhere, and you know, the creation and the development of a legal system of a relatively new country takes time. So to also just be patient.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate you for coming to this show. And to my viewers at home, in anything you are doing, you have to think about law that has to do with that particular thing that you are doing. That is what I get from this message. Really appreciate you for calling.
Thank you for having me.
And
Thank you.
I believe when we call you again, you will stay up like that call.
Yeah, I will do.
Thank you very much.
Of course, my pleasure.
Thank you. This is where we'll be rounding up this program. I thank you so much for taking your time to, you know, watching this program. And I promise you another episode in another time is going to be more fantastic. As you know, CBA is your choice television station, and we give it to you the way you will like it. I still remain your host, Balogun Arishekola Aziz. Till I come your way next time, this is CBA TV, and you are watching Talk to CBA. Bye for now.